Thanks for joining me today. Times right now are a little bit interesting, depending on what country you're in and where you're at. Things are definitely difficult. Here in Austin, Texas, we're still in our shelter in place. We're having to wear a mask outside. It's mandatory. I figured I would not wear mine today to make it easier on my producer. As I have done a lot of reflecting on just this whole kind of ordeal, I just want to tell you before I say anything today about infidelity that you're going to make it through this. I don't know if you'll still have your job. I don't know if you'll need to start a new career. I don't know what's going to happen about your relationship. But I know that when I went through the recession back in 2008, it was the second most difficult crisis I had ever been through, second to the infidelity, which I created. The recession was very challenging. Samantha and I lost everything. The career that I was in stopped immediately at that point, and I was helping people in this regard, and in this manner, nothing really changed. But in terms of my other career, we had to live on savings, and I had a big fat bill to the IRS that we could not pay due to the fact that we lived on our savings to make it through the recession. So that took several years to pay off, and it was a crushing blow. But because we had worked through the crisis of infidelity and we had healed and we had learned so much about trauma and crises, and we learned so much about what we were capable of, a lot of the same tools that we used during the infidelity kind of morphed into different words maybe and different ideas, but yet the tenacity, the courage, the unwillingness to give up and quit both on our faith and on each other and on ourselves really helped carry us through it. And I just want to tell you right now, I know that this is probably trying many of you in ways that you haven't been tried before, or is trying you in ways that you just kind of feel like, man, I'm already dealing with infidelity. Now I've got to deal with this. Now I'm stuck in the house with the same person that has either ripped your heart out, or you're stuck in the same house with the person that you've ripped their heart out, and things are overwhelming. And I just want to tell you, you're going to get through this. You're going to make it to the other side. I make no guarantees about your marital status or what's going to happen, but I just want to tell you, this is an opportunity for you to become more courageous. This is an opportunity for you to become brave in a way that you may have forgotten how brave you've been in the past, or this is an opportunity to learn some bravery and some tenacity that you may not have thought you possessed. I assure you, you possess it. I assure you, you can make it through this. I just appeal to you, don't give up on you. Don't give up on what you heard in the light while you're going through the dark. Now, what that means is, look, hopefully you've learned some things about bravery and courage and tenacity, and then you go through some darkness, and it's very easy to kind of give up on that stuff, and it's very easy to throw in the towel and say, don't do that. It's a tunnel. There's going to be some light at the end of that tunnel. Some days it looks bright, and some days you can't see it at all. But I just promise you, we're going to get through this. You're going to get through this. Moving on into infidelity, there's a saying that some people say that I cannot stand. I absolutely hate it, and it kind of goes like this: it's all a test. It's all just a test. My mom will say it to me frequently, and I just kind of grind my teeth. My mom and I have a wonderful relationship, but I just hate when people say, it's all a test. I want to tell you this brief story. The thing I love about Rick Reynolds is when I first started seeing him, it just kind of, he treated me like a normal client. And then I kind of unzipped the veil and was like, look, I don't want any kind of BS. I need the absolute truth. I need you to be straightforward with me. This is how I kind of work. And then slowly but surely, he just started to go, okay, well, get ready. And we were having an intense discussion one day. And he just kind of stopped me and said, Sam, let me ask you something. What if this is just a big test by Samantha? What if she's testing you? My immediate reaction was, how dare she test me, right? Like I had this immediate self-righteousness come up inside and go, testing me? That's wrong. People shouldn't play games. People shouldn't, deceive or trick people or try and catch them. And he said to me, right, people shouldn't have affairs either. And I went, okay, message received. Now, Rick didn't do that to knife me and didn't do that to just, kind of shame me. He did that to wake me up and say, hey, big shooter, hold on. While you're walking up onto your narcissistic soapbox, take a step down and realize you're in no position to judge Samantha's reactions or what she's doing because you've traumatized her in a way she's never been traumatized before. To expand a little bit here, I think it's very common that the betrayed spouse will test the unfaithful to see what they're willing to do, what's really going on inside of them, what's really operating. Because when the squeeze is on, like a tube of toothpaste, what's inside you is going to come out one way or another. Now, I'm not saying that it's a test like in some weird way to say, well, I'm going to rage at my unfaithful and see what's going to happen, or I'm going to go out and have my own affair and see what happens, or that you're going to maliciously test your spouse to try and push them to react. I'm not talking about that kind of test. I'm talking about the test where one of the biggest examples I want to tell you about that I've heard so much from people lately is the unfaithful feeling like, my betrayed will not do any work. Like, I want to do counseling, I want to go to an intensive, I want to read books, I want to do our free boot camp or what have you, and my betrayed just won't do it. And therein lies the struggle I had with this moment of kind of difficulty with Rick. I was saying all the things that I was willing to do, but yet Samantha was just unsure and she was moving slow and she was kind of like, I don't know. There was lots of I don't know statements. I don't know if I want to be married to you. I don't know if I can forgive you. I don't know if I can be intimate again. I don't know if I can imagine my life with you in light of what you've done. Now, again, this was all within the first few months. This is not anything recent. This is not anything in the last couple of years. This is just within the first few months. And I just felt like, why can't she, move forward? And in my moment of frustration, kind of yelling at Rick, he just said, what if this is a test? What if she's testing you to see what's really important to you? What if she doesn't even know, Sam, that she's testing you? What if she's so traumatized, so hurt, so confused, so just overwhelmed with grief that she doesn't even know that she's really testing you, and you're failing the test because you're taking the mentality as an unfaithful that says, well, if you won't do this, I'm not going to do that. And that, my friends, is a recipe for disaster. Herein lies this struggle. We as unfaithful don't understand the behavior of the betrayed, so we start to get upset and we fail the test and we kind of prove what the betrayed were testing us to see. So if they're not going to do work, well, I'm not going to do work. Well, I'm not going to do this and I'm not going to do that if they're not going to do that. And most recently, I've heard many of you walking through this journey of, the betrayed just isn't sure and they won't do much work at all and they won't respond to your calls, your texts, or what have you. I understand that on both sides. But I just will tell you, unfaithful, I want to ask you, what if it's a test to you? What if it's a test to see how committed you are, how desperate you are, how real your motivations are? What if it's a test to see how true your motivations are and what you're willing to do? Are you willing to do whatever it takes? What's more important to you, your pride or your relationship? What's more important to you, who does what or the marriage? Are you willing to go through a season where maybe the betrayed is uncertain, unsure, and still just kind of limps along? Are you going to be demanding? Are you going to put all these kind of heavy restrictions on them? Or are you going to take the approach that says, and I had to learn this approach, please don't think that I just came up with this on my own, but I had to learn the approach that says, honey, take all the time you need to heal. I'm willing to do whatever it takes. I have lots of work to do. I have enough work to do where I can focus on me, but I'm here for you. I'll talk when you're ready to talk. I'll read books, I'll take courses, I'll spend whatever amount of money, I'll go into any amount of debt to help us heal. But I'm not going to make you move at a speed that you're not comfortable with. I'm going to work on me. I'm willing to do whatever it takes. Nothing is more important than you and us. So you have to ask yourself, are you passing the test that's in front of you? Samantha would later admit to me, yeah, I did kind of test you, Sam. I wanted to know, did you just want to be a good dad, or did you really want to be with me? There were several tests that she put me through. Most of them she was aware of, some of them she was unaware of. And as we did work, we started to kind of see through the smoke and understand where we both were at. And so I just want to ask you, unfaithful, are you passing the test? Are you failing because you're taking the approach like I did of, well, they won't do any work and they won't do this. Well, you can still do work. You don't have to be paralyzed emotionally or spiritually or psychologically. You're not just going to sit there on your hands. I'm sure, let me just appeal to you graciously, because I've been where you're at. I'm sure you have more than enough work to do on you. You can go to counseling. You can read books. You can study. You can watch videos. You can go on our website. There's so many things that you can do to find out why you did what you did. What is the life of the betrayed like due to your choices? I mean, there is so many things that you can do. And if you want help, listen, drop me a comment on any of the platforms that my videos appear on. I would be happy to give you some suggestions on what you can do. But listen, you have to do the work. I can hear some of you, my final thought for you today is, that's kind of mean, Sam, that they would test me. Why do they have to play games? Why do they have to trick me? Why can't they just tell me how they feel? Why can't they just A, B, and C? Well, listen, I know you may think that's kind of mean, but let me tell you what Rick told me. Affairs are mean. They're devastating. That's not to shame you. That's to give you perspective. They may not understand why they're doing what they're doing right now. They may not be in their right mind. Their world has been traumatized. They have been turned upside down and shaken with everything in the fabric of their being removed. So you have to go through a few tests. I get it. I hope that you can see how worth your relationship is. I hope you can see that, you know what? Maybe it's worth it to go through these tests, because I think that you can pass them, even if you've been failing. My hope today is you go, you know what? Maybe this is a test, and maybe I can do better.